Hi guys, good evening and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I'll be discussing what I thought of the latest and pretty entertaining new horror film that came out today called The Cursed from actually, I don't know the name of the director off the top of my head, but it's from LD Entertainment. I've never really heard of them, but I did recognize a few of the names in this film. Like one of the main characters was a rebel general in the excellent Star Wars film Rogue One, and one of the leading ladies was one of the main characters from the hit show Yellowstone, and a couple other people I recognize too. But overall, entertaining film. Before I get into all the details, of course, please be warned, like almost all of my film reviews, this is a spoiler-filled review, so if you've not seen The Cursed yet and you plan to watch it either tomorrow or at some point this weekend, you do not want to keep watching or listening to this video, as I will obviously be discussing spoilers, plot details, character deaths, all that jazz. That being said, you have been warned. Let's dive right back into it. So, right off the bat, the word werewolf is never mentioned once in this movie. I mean, it does include the usual stuff, gypsy curse. Actually, a gypsy curse is pretty common in any horror film, not necessarily just the werewolf genre, but they have been present in other werewolf films, like the Wolfman movies. And then silver, the how silver can weaken or kill this creature, but nobody ever flats out says werewolf. They do refer to it as a wolf when talking about the mutilated bodies that pile up during the course of the film, but nobody once says werewolf or lichen or lycanthrope or lycanthropy or nothing like that. But they do refer to the curse, though. So it's a little iffy. I don't know if I would label this a werewolf movie or not. I mean, if it was a werewolf, or should I say werewolves, because there was more than one, they were the most hairless werewolves I have ever seen. In fact, they reminded me of the werewolf that Professor Lupin takes the form of in the first Harry Potter film when we first meet him, which I think was Prisoner of Azkaban, I think is when Professor Lupin first appears and he turns into a werewolf and he looks bald and hairless. That's kind of what these werewolves reminded me of, Professor Lupin in that particular Harry Potter film. But they still looked great, scary as hell, awesome practical effects, and this was an incredibly violent, blood, splatter, gore-filled film for such what I would assume is a presumably low-budget film, or one that you might even call an independent low-budget film, but it had an impressive special effects budget and team, because we saw some great carnage, some remarkably realistic-looking chopped-off hands and legs and limbs being ripped off and whatnot, some great blood splatter effects, and some awesome scary close-ups of the wolf attack or the werewolf attack, whatever you want to call it. Surprisingly, really high body count. I thought at first the film started off with having a pretty easy body count to keep track of, but in that final act inside the church, that werewolf or that thing killed a ton of people, including his own mother. But then, of course, it made sense to me, because in the opening scene when we see the guy getting operated on during World War I, and we see a big old silver bullet taken out, I'm like, oh, I bet this guy was once like almost put down as a werewolf, but survived somehow, but never became a wolf again because the silver was in his body. And now that it's gone, he's dead. So that wasn't too surprising. Like that big reveal at the end, wasn't too surprising. It was basically confirming what I knew or very much heavily suspected. This was still an entertaining film for the most part. It was a bit slow at moments, although in the first half, they did have a pretty good steady beat going where it was basically one scene after another. No shortage of like momentary jump scares or anything like that too. Like I said, great special effects, great practical effects to be exact. So I liked it a lot. Definitely had some flaws and some plot holes, as my friend pointed out to me. I saw it with him. Actually, he kind of fell asleep a few times because he was bored with parts of it, and I could understand why. But the movie, for the most part, kept my interest all throughout, like from beginning to end, and I was pretty satisfied with what I got. I didn't really have any high or low expectations. I was fairly indifferent and knowledgeable going into this movie, but walking out, I was like, yeah, that wasn't bad. I don't know if I would see it again, but it wasn't bad, you know, impressive body count, great looking scary monsters, and pretty awesome, violent, bloody, special practical effects, you know, so a lot of the main ingredients that normally makes a pretty damn good horror movie, where this one was pretty okay, not super good, not super great, but not super awful, but pretty okay, I would say, if I had to rate it on a scale anywhere. So I liked it a lot, and I hope you guys did too. If you're watching this, I'm hoping that by watching or listening to this video, you agree with me. But maybe you don't. Let me know what you think down below in the comments section. If you liked this movie, if you didn't like it, were you expecting more, expecting less? Do you think this is a werewolf movie, or would you classify it as something else? Let me know what your thoughts are. The Cursed is now playing in theaters. It opened in advanced screenings earlier tonight, but comes out tomorrow starting the 18th. So thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your night, and stay tuned and subscribe to this channel for more forthcoming horror content. There's a lot to look forward to in 2022. Have an awesome rest of your night, everyone. And of course, until next time, may the force be with you.